At 04:40 a.m. August 28, 2025, Temryuk Bay, the Sea of Azov. In a world first that stunned the globe, Ukraine's $500 drone obliterated Russia's warship, rewriting naval warfare forever. Russian sailors caught in a nightmare faced their most humiliating defeat since signing up. 30 miles away, operators from Ukraine's primary special unit monitor the feed through an encrypted Starlink connection. Their weapon, the UJ-26 Bobber, is an 11-pound composite airframe moving at 75 miles per hour, just 40 feet over the waves. The thermal signature on their screens doesn't lie. The ship's engine exhaust glows white-hot against the cool morning sea, a perfect target screaming for attention. The math is brutal for Moscow. The Bayan M carries 8 3M14 caliber cruise missiles, each with a 1,000-pound warhead and a range of 200 miles. Taking this single ship out of the fight means neutralizing 8 potential strikes on Ukrainian infrastructure. For Ukraine, this isn't just an attack. It's a preemptive defense of their cities, and the return on investment is about to be astronomical. And this wasn't some spur-of-the-moment operation. Ukrainian Defense Intelligence tracked the Bayan M for 96 hours using a combination of commercial Maxar satellite imagery and a Bayraktar TB2 loitering at 20,000 feet. They identified its patrol schedule, its lack of escort in the Temryuk Bay, and most importantly, the exact window where its own radar would be least effective. That's 4 full days of surveillance. How long would you have watched before pulling the trigger? Let me know your intel threshold in the comments. The challenge, however, is immense. The Bayan M's MR352 positive radar can theoretically track 300 targets simultaneously out to 90 miles. Its AK-630M2 CIWS is a buzzsaw in the sky, firing 10,000 rounds per minute. And its TK-25 EW suite is designed to create a 20-mile-wide bubble of electromagnetic chaos, frying any drone that gets too close. So how does a drone cheaper than a used car humiliate a warship worth more than a Hollywood mansion strap in, because Ukraine's about to solve that equation with lethal precision and a whole lot of guts? 4:42 a.m. The Bobber's 350-mile journey to the target was a masterclass in exploiting basic geometry. Carrying a 2-pound fragmentation warhead, the drone maintained a precise altitude of 40 feet. At this height, the curvature of the Earth creates a radar horizon of roughly 25 miles. The Bayan M's powerful MR352 positive radar, designed to detect distant aircraft, was effectively blind. It was staring straight ahead, looking for high-flying threats, while the Bobber was essentially crawling on the floor beneath its gaze. Even Russia's high-tech radar can't see through a planet. Physics doesn't negotiate. But maintaining control of a drone skimming the waves 350 miles from its operator presents an impossible physics problem of its own. Radio signals don't follow the Earth's curve. Ukraine's solution was brutally effective, a 2-tiered command structure. High above, at an altitude of 3 miles, a Gogol M mother drone flew a lazy orbit. It wasn't a weapon. It was a glorified cell tower. The operator's commands were beamed up to a Starlink satellite down to the Gogol M and then relayed to the Bobber. It's a brilliant solution, but is it the only one? If you were the engineer, what's another way you would have solved this 350-mile control problem? This flight path wasn't a gamble. It was a planned execution based on hard intelligence. The 72-hour surveillance window had revealed a fatal flaw in Russian procedure. In the relative safety of the Temryuk Bay, the Bayan M patrolled without a frigate escort, violating standard naval doctrine. The Ukrainians didn't just find a target. They found a habit, a lazy routine born from arrogance. They knew the ship would be here, and they knew it would be alone. The trap was set. Let's be clear, the Bayan M corvette is no slouch. At 243 feet long, it's a dense package of lethality. Its primary armament is 8 launch tubes for caliber cruise missiles weapons that can level a city block from 200 miles away. Its secondary is the A-190 100mm cannon, capable of engaging ships and shore targets. But its last line of defense, the one designed specifically to stop threats like incoming drones, is the AK-630M2 Duet. This system creates a solid wall of flying tungsten. Anything smaller than a main battle tank would simply disintegrate against it. The problem is to shoot something, you first have to see it. The ship's all-seeing eye is the MR-352 positive radar, but it's looking for threats with the radar cross-section of a fighter jet. The bobber is made of composite materials and its radar signature is smaller than a dinner plate. To the positive system, it might as well be invisible. The ship's TK-25 electronic warfare suite stands ready, a silent killer designed to blast the airwaves with jamming signals. But it's waiting for a command that will never come because the radar that's supposed to give that command is completely blind. 04:45 hours. Suddenly, a frantic radio call from a circling Orlan 10 reconnaissance drone screams a warning, a small, fast-moving surface contact. Panic on the bridge. The captain orders flank speed, pushing the corvette to 25 knots in a series of sharp, evasive turns. It's a textbook maneuver that would work perfectly against a torpedo launched in...
The world woke up to the news with disbelief. Headlines exploded across international media. Ukrainian drones destroy Russian battleship. Moscow humiliated in Black Sea disaster. Drone swarm changes future of naval warfare. In Kiev, soldiers and civilians celebrated. For months, they had lived under the shadow of Russian naval dominance, fearing missile strikes from the sea. Now, that fear was gone. Children waved flags in the streets. Families cheered as videos of the burning battleship spread like wildfire online. Meanwhile, in Moscow, panic set in. The Kremlin scrambled to control the narrative, calling the incident a minor fire. But satellite images and viral footage told the truth: Russia had lost one of its most valuable warships. Social media mocked the cover-up. Memes comparing the battleship to a floating coffin spread everywhere. Inside the Russian Navy, morale collapsed. Sailors whispered, "If this can happen to them, it can happen to us." No ship felt safe anymore. Drones could come at any time, from any direction. But Ukraine didn't stop there. They pressed the advantage. Over the next 72 hours, more drone strikes hit Russian naval outposts, fuel depots, and radar stations along the Black Sea. Each strike was precise, devastating, and demoralizing. The Russians were forced to pull back their remaining ships, hiding them in ports far from Ukrainian reach. The Black Sea, once dominated by Russia, was now contested territory. Military analysts around the world were stunned. For decades, battleships had been symbols of power, floating fortresses meant to intimidate. But this single Ukrainian operation proved that even the largest warships were vulnerable. Drone warfare had rewritten the rules. In Washington, London, and Brussels, defense experts took notes. "This is the future of naval warfare," one U.S. admiral said. "You don't need billion-dollar ships to win anymore. You need innovation." But while the world marveled, the human cost was sobering. Dozens of Russian sailors were dead, many more missing. Survivors who made it back to shore spoke of terror, of fire and screams, of the helplessness of fighting against an invisible swarm. Families in Russia demanded answers. Mothers cried for their sons, lost in a war that was supposed to be quick but had dragged on for years. Putin, furious and humiliated, vowed revenge. He ordered new strikes on Ukrainian cities, desperate to show strength. But every missile fired only fueled Ukraine's resolve. Every attack reminded civilians why they had to fight, why they had to endure. In Kiev, President Zelensky addressed the nation. His words carried weight, his tone fierce but hopeful. "We have shown the world that courage is stronger than fear, that innovation is stronger than oppression. This victory is not just ours, it is proof that freedom cannot be drowned, even in the deepest seas." His speech resonated beyond Ukraine. Across Europe, people rallied in support. Across the U.S.